I'm Greg Cajete, Director of Native American Studies, and it is really my utmost pleasure to accept this award um, with regard to the work that I've done. Actually, this is one of the first times I've been honored in this way, so I didn't know quite exactly how to develop my thoughts or perspectives around an acceptance speech. So I'm going to just simply tell you a little bit about myself and my work as a Native educator. I am from Santa Clara Pueblo, which is one of 6 Tewa-speaking pueblos north of Santa Fe. I went to New Mexico Highlands University in my undergraduate studies, where I majored in both biology and sociology, and I minored in education. And that was a great experience in the sense that I was primarily in a university that was a regional university here in New Mexico. And I interacted with many students that were actually from New Mexico, different parts of the state. That really gave me an appreciation, I think, not only in terms of my own community of Santa Clara, in my own region in northern New Mexico, but also a sense for the other regions and the other communities in New Mexico. So part of my experience in doing the work that I do currently really resides in the fact that early on I went to the East Coast to attend a very prestigious academy, Phillips Exeter Academy. And when I attended that during my last year of high school, I realized how unique New Mexico was, how unique our traditions, our history, and our perspective of life was. And so I really made, I think, a commitment at that point in time to really try to be a good citizen of New Mexico and actually to learn more about my own communities and about New Mexico in terms of its history, its people, its cultures, its traditions. So I think that guided me in a lot of different kinds of ways. I was also very interested in science and science learning and especially life sciences because of my upbringing in my own community, my own family. My grandmother, I spent a lot of time with her, and as was true of many people of that generation in New Mexico, she knew a lot about plants. She was a farmer, so she taught me, I think, some very important lessons about how to interact with, how to have a relationship with land and with people, with communities, and especially with plants. And so as a result, I started with a major in biology. Although I was also an artist, I had taken a lot of art courses in high school, and I was already showing in different venues. So art also has been a very important part of my life, and especially the arts of New Mexico. So as I began to engage, higher education and begin to really realize how unique New Mexico was, I began to sort of concentrate a lot of the work that I was doing, both in terms of biology and also in terms of later on sociology as another major at New Mexico Highlands, to begin to explore this uniqueness that I felt and that I saw in New Mexico. And I actually, almost like taking out an insurance policy, I took a minor in education. In many ways, thinking, well, maybe I'll use this somewhere along the way, And so, interestingly enough, my first job was not in biology or sociology, but it was actually to teach at New Mexico Robertson High School, or rather Robertson High School in Las Vegas. And I had in my class students that were coming from the outlying region around Las Vegas, were primarily ranch kids. And I was able to begin to explore culture, tradition, and perspective as a foundation for learning about science. Later on, I was, because I had done my student teaching at the Institute of American Indian Arts in Santa Fe, New Mexico, I was asked to come back and to fill in a position that had just opened up with regard to biology and teaching biology. So I took that position at New Mexico, from New Mexico Highlands to Robertson and then to the IAIA. And during all that time, I continued to research and explore the history of New Mexico, especially our traditions of plant use, our traditions of land use, and begin to really think about deeply, how to begin to convey that message, to teach about that in the context of the courses that I was creating. So at the IAIA, I was offered the opportunity to actually create a curriculum from the ground up, so to speak. I was asked by the president at that time to develop a science curriculum that integrated science with art, with the cultural perspectives of the students at the Institute of American Indian Arts at that time. It had a high school program, and so I was the high school science teacher. And the students were coming from all over the United States, Native students. Their interest was in art, but they were having difficulties engaging science. In other words, they were not passing their science courses or science requirements. And so it started out very specifically to address this issue of Native students being alienated from science. And that grew into a very extensive research process of curriculum and creating curriculum at the Institute that integrated science with art, with cultural perspectives. And I didn't know it at that time, but it turns out that very little of this kind of work was going on. I'm talking about the early 70s, 1973, 1974. Very little of this culturally based science curriculum development and design was going on in the United States. So we were, in a sense, some of the first schools in the Bureau of Indian Affairs system at that time to begin to advocate for culturally based, culturally responsive curriculum, using, in the case of IA, art as the foundation. That turned into my original intent was to just spend a few years at the IIA teaching and then move on and explore, get a master's and maybe even PhD in biology at New Mexico State University. But as I got into the teaching of science and this whole creative process of developing and designing curriculum that was culturally responsive, I became more and more engaged. And through that process and during the time that I was at IIA, I moved my emphasis from specifically biology and specifically the ecology of plants to a focus on education, and more particularly science education for minority students. And that then led to a whole career actually at IAIA. I spent 21 years at the IAIA working with developing curriculum that was innovative and culturally responsive, using the arts as a foundation for a lot of that work. Working with some very, very interesting, very creative artists, creative teachers, and creative students. And then, having accomplished what I thought I needed to accomplish at IIA, I began to search for another outlet for my own creative work. By that time, I had already accomplished my doctorate degree, and I then began to look for other opportunities. I was the dean actually at IAIA for a period of time, and I felt that I needed to expand my horizons, so to speak. And then I was offered a position here at the University of New Mexico as the American Indian Education Specialist in the College of Education, and that was in 1995. And so I moved from Santa Fe to Albuquerque and began to really explore researching culturally responsive science curriculum and degree, and actually teaching about it in terms of the courses that I was involved with here at the university in the College of Education. And through that process, I again learned and developed my research capability, my research skills, began to, in a sense, expand nationally in terms of both my research and also my work with other schools and particularly native schools and tribal colleges at that time. And then I was offered the position here at the University of New Mexico as the Director of Native American Studies. And in many ways, as is true with many ethnic studies programs, I was offered the position in a situation where the program was indeed having some major issues and needed actually a kind of leadership that would move it from a kind of static position to something that was more conducive, I guess you might say, to success and development, in terms of a program. So I was asked basically to come to the University College at that time by Dr. Peter White, who was the dean of University College at that time, and to see what I could do in terms of creating a different kind of Native Studies program. And because, the University of New Mexico has had a Native, not exactly a Native Studies program, but a Native Studies center, really since the early 70s. I would say 69 and 70 was really a landmark year in terms of sort of solidifying a lot of different things that the university was doing around Native issues into a center kind of concept. And so the university, continued to use that center concept. And when I came in, I decided that what was really important for us here at the University of New Mexico was to really develop a Native Studies degree. And so I began to organize both faculty, hire faculty, find funds in a variety of different kinds of contexts to begin this process of developing a Bachelor's of Native American Studies. And this was in 2002. And we began to, in a sense, create a political campaign to develop a degree in Native Studies, starting with just myself and actually my administrative assistant, who is still with me today. No teachers, but a few courses. We began to build the program so that by 2004 and 2005 academic year, we were able to successfully pass the muster, so to speak, with regard to the curriculum committee here at the University of New Mexico, and were able to engage a Bachelor of Native American Studies. We've since that time graduated about 155 majors and minors in the Native Studies program. The program has been evolving really since day one in terms of my directorship. In many ways, it was pulling the whole program apart and reconstituting it in a new way that engaged both students and faculty and really began to create a focus on a mission within the context of the university to bring about a new kind of expression of Native Studies that was focused on leadership, self-determination, and also creating a focus on creating sustainable communities. And so we find ourselves today in 2014 now talking about a master's degree that extends the learning of our students and very much based on the demand of our students to move from the undergraduate degree into a graduate degree to begin to explore in some more depth some of those issues associated with leadership, self-determination, and especially these days, creating a context to discuss the many issues and challenges of maintaining and actually even creating sustainable communities. And so part of the work that I've done really has been to attempt to create a new expression of Native studies that really does engage the issues that the students face, and that they see in their own communities, and also to take a look at some of the global issues that affect all of us, like climate change, like economics, globalization, and the whole issues of the environment, that deal with that we are all affected by and will be affected by, in generations to come. And so part of the new initiatives that I'm also involved with, because there were many ups and downs in this, I'm sort of glossing over many of the kinds of issues that we had to face, within the university as an ethnic studies program, as a Native studies program, to convince the university that we were worthy of funding, to convince the university that the Native Studies program, especially here in New Mexico, plays a very, very important role in baseline, what I would call baseline education and baseline skill development for Native people. Because as we move into this brave new world of the 21st century, with all the challenges that we are faced with, we really have to educate for a student that is able to think on their feet, who has critical thinking skills, who has the ability to creatively problem solve in collaboration, not only with other Native people, but in collaboration with many people. And those are the kinds of skills that I believe will ultimately make the biggest difference in terms of the ability of the next generation to begin to address some of the very challenging and very complex issues at a social, at an economic, and I would say even a spiritual level. And so my hope and my vision, as the director of Native American Studies, is that we've set in place a foundation, both in terms of the curriculum and also in terms of the intention and the interests of students, and the University of New Mexico itself as a institution that serves the needs of the students and the communities here in New Mexico, that we've created a firm foundation that we can build the kinds of necessary curricular experiences, educational experiences that will allow students to engage, those challenges that are before us as we speak. And I guess the last thing I would like to say is along this process of developing as an Indigenous teacher, Indigenous scholar, I find myself now also participating and collaborating with Chicano studies, African American studies, women's studies, sustainability studies, in a new project that is joint to all of us that deals with the formation of a new college of social transformation. And this idea began with actually a couple of our faculty in Native American Studies when Native American Studies was actually being asked to find a new academic home. And this was not too long ago, actually about 5-6 years ago. And we attempted to look at arts and sciences and also education, and found that really the best place for us was to continue to be a part of University College. But during that process, we were asked by the provost at that time to submit a paper that outlined what were other possibilities, other options. And so a couple of our faculty, Tiffany Lee and Lloyd Lee, submitted what is called a white paper that outlined the idea or the concept of a school or college of social transformation. And while the provost didn't follow up on that at that time, we felt that it was an idea that was worthy of further exploration. So during a luncheon with the other directors of the ethnic studies programs, we began to discuss this possibility of developing a School of Social Transformation, College of Social Transformation, as we are now calling it, that would actually bring together the various, in many ways, marginalized programs of the university that deal with social justice, that deal with issues of community, and bring them together into a new structure that would allow for greater and more in-depth collaboration around the kinds of issues that are important to especially students of color, people of color, communities of color, but really important to really overall the state of New Mexico in terms of its evolution and development into these, in facing these same challenges that I just described in terms of Native studies, but as a state. And so I'm happy to say that those processes and those plans are evolving and developing as we speak. And the hope, is that in the near future that there will be such a thing as a College of Social Transformation here at the University of New Mexico. Again, this is going to require a collaboration of many people here at the university, many people in the community, and also the university as an administration to begin to understand that first and foremost, the University of New Mexico is the University of New Mexico, and that its first priority is really to serve the students, serve the community that is New Mexico in a broader and we hope with the formation of this college more effective and more direct way. And so I'll conclude, I guess, with that in terms of just simply again acknowledging and just deeply appreciating this honor that you are bestowing upon me, and I hope that I've been of some service, both to the University of New Mexico and also to the state of New Mexico in the context of the work that I have been doing. I should say also that I do this work not only nationally, but I also do it internationally. So part of my work here at the University of New Mexico has also included helping especially indigenous peoples around the world think about science in different kinds of ways, because indigenous people have similar issues with learning science as you go around the world. And so I've had the honor to be a part of projects that deal with issues of sustainability in Taiwan, in Japan. I've worked working with teachers in Ecuador, Bolivia, Mexico, and Peru most recently, and working actually also with many indigenous groups in Canada and also New Zealand. So the work that I'm doing here has broadened in ways that I didn't imagine, but as it turns out, it seems that there is interest in creating a bridge between Native perspectives and understandings of the world and the Western science perspectives, and finding a way to synergize those two worldviews in a way that is more positive, and we hope contributes, to Western science in terms of the way that it thinks and the way that it interacts with the world and with people. And so with that, again, thank you so much. As we say in my language, Tewa, Wikunda. Thank you very much.